peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya, the capital city, Nairobi. It is 23rd of February, 2022, the year of our Lord, down here on Wednesday in Nairobi. Thank you very much for watching us. We have been all along, not together, but today we are together. We are back together as a real serious television station now. We have been doing quite a few things to renovate, and we are happy we are here. Good morning, all of you across in Africa, the whole continent, in Southern Africa, in Zimbabwe, in Mozambique, wherever you are in Cairo, in West Africa, in Abuja, Accra. Good morning. And for us here in Nairobi, the day is charged. Together with my co-host, senior anchor, senior editor of Punchline Africa, we are back together. Good morning, Miriam.
Doctor, indeed, a very good morning to you, and good morning to our viewers. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in today. It's lovely to have you back.
Thank you very much. I am very delighted to be here again in the best one of our new studios, and we are still going on to make sure that you get good coverage. As you know, this year is the year of campaign in Africa, in Kenya, sorry, and we are busy preparing to show you, to bring to you the news from Kenya, the news with a lot of strength, and the news with a lot of facts on the elections of Kenya. Miriam here will be doing it every morning. I will be there with her up to the end until we get a peaceful Kenya. Good morning, viewers. Across the CBD of Nairobi, we have our special correspondent, none other than Daniel Wesonga. Good morning, Daniel.
A very good morning to you, Dr. Matsanga David. Good morning to my colleague Miriam, to our viewers here in Nairobi, Kenya, Africa, and the rest of the globe. It is my pleasure to be on the conversation this morning.
Yes, you can. Why don't you congratulate us for being back on the base?
It is really wonderful, Dr. Matsanga, and of course, I believe our viewers are really seeing the wonderful studio that is in Nairobi, Kenya. And of course, those who are outside the continent are able to also catch us on the satellite and see the wonderful work that is being done.
Thank you very much, Daniel, Sean, Wesonga. Miriam, you have good news for us from Kenya. We shall be broadcasting live for you in conjunction with our satellite across in Berlin and South Africa. We shall be bringing to you all the news. I think you can even see the acoustics has changed a bit. And thank you very much. Over to you, Miriam, to tell us the Kenyan news and greet the people in America. Miriam is an expert of diaspora dispatches. I'm an expert of diplomatic investigations. Thank you very much. Miriam, over to you.
Yes, indeed, and we shall come to that just in a short bit. But I'd like to bring us up to date with the latest news by just going through quickly the news making headlines across Kenya by looking at the leading newspapers here in the country. And we start with the Standard newspaper. Which way Mount Kenya as Uhuru to spill the beans? As President Uhuru Kenyatta's backyard waits for an explanation on what went wrong in his political marriage with Deputy President William Ruto, the big question is whether the vote-rich region will read from the same script as the head of state. The story is on page 5, 6, and 7 of the Standard newspaper. My children can defend themselves, Obado tells court. That is on page 5. SACCOs seek 4.2 billion Kenya shillings in unremitted dues. You'll find that on page 12. And threat to exams as teachers issue strike notice. That is on page 4. And Kenya firm on Ukraine-Russia TIV. That is on page 13 and 32. And it's a cartel country, says Speaker, on cost of food. That is on page 15. And then we turn our attention to the Daily Nation, the main headline. A lame duck king, that is the big question there. And Sosion Oyu in blame game on nut deaths, that is on the back page. And expect COVID wave in May, warns expert, that is on page 8. And AG makes U-turn in Mumia's lease case, that is on page 14. And then we look at the Star newspaper, the main headline, why Mudavadi's big gamble yet to pay off. The DP's ratings in Western Kenya continue to drop despite ANC leader joining him. The story is on page 4 and 5 on the Star newspaper. Senators back bill scraping need for degree for MPs and MCAs, that is on page 7. So in a nutshell, that is what we have on the leading newspapers here in Kenya this morning. Back to you.
I think, Miriam, thank you very much. We have seen it all. If you have anything that you feel that you can join us, we shall later on in the later hour of this program bring our telephone ready for you to call us on +254 795 638 145. But if you don't have at the moment, you just keep it until our phone is here. As you know, we have just come into this new studio and we are on the beginning to work out ways and means of making sure that if there is anything that you want to add on us, we are still rebuilding. Thank you very much. For me, across maybe Wesonga, let's begin with you first. Down on the streets of Nairobi in the CBD, what do people say?
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga, David, and Miriam in the studio. And of course, today is the big day where the president is going to be talking to and speaking to the mountain about the political maybe direction that they're supposed to take in Sagana 3 convention that is happening right now. And of course, many people are expecting perhaps the big announcement or the earthquake, as they call it, to come from that particular meeting. And of course, that is going to shape the political space here in Kenya. And we are just keeping an eye on it, and perhaps we shall be updating our viewers on the that are coming from that particular side, and that is through our social media pages. And of course, we have a man on the ground who is going to be also giving us a report of whatever is happening there.
Thank you very much, viewers. That is Daniel Wesonga in the CBD of Nairobi, and we want to go straight to the topic. What topic, Miriam, did you pick out? I picked something very strange. Degree to be scrapped. I think that one is in all this writing. So if an MP has no tools of analysis, tell me how we interpret what is in the parliament, what is talked about. Will he be carrying a dictionary? Will he be taught? Will there be tutors in the parliament? They don't have a degree. What do you think about this? Are we really in the normal world, or there is something wrong in Africa?
I think this, as much as majority, I was just reading this story earlier, and they're looking at the percentage of Kenyans who perhaps have attained the level of having the degree, which is about 3.5% of Kenyans. And they're saying, according to our constitution, using this law is discriminating against anyone seeking to have a position of leadership in this country. But having said that, being a member of parliament and being an MCA right now in a new constitution, especially for the MCAs, comes with a certain level of responsibility. The MCAs now are not like the way they used to be, just the councillors. They formulate laws that are used in the counties. They're part and parcel, of formulating these laws. So if you cannot, comprehend properly, I wonder what quality of laws or what quality of legislation will be taking place, one, in the counties and also in our parliament. You can't be legislating over things you don't understand. You have to have have a good level of comprehension. And this a lot of times comes when you're well-read, when you're knowledgeable, when you've gone to school, and your capacity to understand some of these things is much better. I'm not saying people who don't have degrees are not all that, but I think this is an added advantage, and there's a reason why the formulators of our new constitution found it necessary to have this as a requirement, for you to hold these positions, very important positions in our country.
Miriam, the MPs are chosen, representatives are chosen to interpret the constitution for the people that have chosen you. But if you tell me a representative is going to ask you about certain terminology in the constitution, or is going to ask, he doesn't know. If they say the budget, you must know how a budget works. You must know how laws are made. Is this the way we should go, or it is just politics on everything? Are we becoming a state of politics throughout in Africa? Is Kenya becoming a state of politics throughout in Africa? If you have anything that you can tell us, is politics our food? Every morning when we finish the elections, we are on politics. We finish electing our president, we start campaigning for the next president. Is this what we have come to, Miriam?
Yeah, I think we are a very political country, and we politic a lot. I think that is like our second nature outside of being Kenyans, and then politics, I think, is our middle name. So we enjoy doing that. Unfortunately, sometimes politics finds in itself in places where it shouldn't be. And I'm sure some of these people who are bringing in these laws, maybe they're doing it to protect some of their friends who do not have these degrees, who others are in court, over fake academic papers. So I think it is a deficit move, and it's taking us back from where we used to be, because these laws like this were meant to push us forward in terms of the quality of legislation we are supposed to be getting from our parliament, and indeed from the county assembly. So this is retrogressive by a lot. I don't know what Daniel Wasonga has to say about this.
Thank you so much, Miriam, and of course I agree with you together with Dr. Masanga David that the role of an MP is majorly legislative, and that is why in the old constitution, even the post-colonial era, it was the members of the National Assembly were known as the members of the Legislative Assembly, which meant that these were people who went to make laws, or maybe ensure that the laws are actually implemented in Parliament. And therefore, when you are electing an MP, then we have to make sure that we elect people who are very, very much informed about the formulation of the law, how people who are well informed about which laws are very, very much effective and impactful to their people, and not people who go out there to get money from government to come and dish out to build curb roads, to pave roads, to build schools. That is not the mandate of an MP. MPs are members of parliament, and their role is actually to make laws. And if you have an MP like Oscar Sudi, who does not speak in parliament, if you have an MP like Rigathi Gachagua, who does not bring motions to the floor of the House, then those are people who have failed in their legislations. We need MPs who can be able to bring laws that will ensure that we have increased funding and equal shared prosperity for the people of Kenya. But if we keep on electing people who just go there to be the conveyor belts, as other leaders actually formulate laws, then we have failed as a people, because the role and the key mandate of an MP should not be building roads, paving streets, and actually building schools. The role of an MP is legislation, and that is why I support Dr. Matsanga. And to his question, I believe we should have leaders who understand the law, leaders who have the requirements in terms of education, who can be able to sit on the floor of the House and debate and be able to formulate laws that will be impactful to the members of their constituencies they represent. And you cannot have that kind of mandate without intellectual capacity. And the only way we can make sure that a certain individual has a certain intellectual capacity is actually by possessing the credentials and the credibility through the papers that perhaps these individuals possess. For example, if you do not have a degree, we can also say authoritatively that perhaps you have never gone beyond high school. If you do not have the KCSE certificate, perhaps we can also say you have never gone beyond primary school. So therefore, there is need to have a law that ensures that people who are sent to parliament are people with ability, people who have been elected through meritocracy, to go there and formulate laws and policies that will be able to help the president and the people of Kenya achieve prosperity through proper legislation and debate at the floor of the House, Miriam. I submit.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. And perhaps maybe before we get into our main topic this morning, looking at on the diplomatic leaks, the main headline on the Star newspaper, why Mudavadi's big gamble is yet to pay off. I'll just get a bit of that story from page 4 and 5 on the Star newspaper. A month after his surprise earthquake deal with Deputy President William Ruto, ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi political value remains debatable, especially in his Western Kenya backyard, although his entry alongside Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula appears to have fired up the Ruto team at the national stage. The latest opinion poll suggests ODM leader Raila Odinga remains the man to beat in Western. So the fortunes of Deputy President William Ruto, Dr. seems not to have changed even after Mudavadi and Wetangula joined him.
Media have been time and time again telling people, frankly, that they will not change. These guys don't have votes. You know, Western Kenya was called North Nyanza before. South Nyanza and North Nyanza. When Port Florence had just started. I don't know whether people historically, I don't think even Mudavadi himself knows. But these used to vote together, used to work together in all activism. If you look at Masinde Muliro, and then you go to Raila's father, Mzee the late, and the late Masinde Muliro, they were coordinating the activities in Western Province. You cannot leave the man in Trans Nzoia because that was an area for resettlement, for people resettling in Trans Nzoia. So you couldn't leave out the people of Turkana. Those areas have been working together. And whoever wins in Eastern, in Western, always must win Western and it's Nyanza. So it's going to be very difficult for somebody to come in the middle and say, I am taking the vote from the Western Kenya. Raila will scoop that place. And Raila, you see, there's something that I want to tell you, Miriam, and the listeners and the viewers, those watching us. There are two prongs of approach in the UDA. One prong is propaganda by Ruto. The second prong is propaganda by regime change. Musalia and Wetangula, especially Musalia, is a regime change. Musalia's funding is coming from a different angle. That's why he's not bothered. They are not bothered to say even the man himself who brought them, you can see the way he stands on the micro, he's directing them, do what they know. For Musalia came to UDA to make sure that incites the people, incitement. All the prices, lower the prices, lower the prices. I have been eating bread since I was 6 years. The bread 6 years in 1962 was costing 15 cents. I have never seen the price of bread go down. Let's be very honest. I have never. Maybe in Kenya, but in Uganda, the price of bread has never gone down. The price of bread always rises. And let's be very honest with people here. There is nowhere in the world at the moment where you find everybody comfortable. If Kenyans want to be comfortable with lowering prices, they can go to Venice. You can lower prices in Venice where there is no oxygen. But here, whatever you are touching, there is oxygen, Miriam. You must pay the oil. The prices worldwide are determined by oil. The oil prices. The oil prices, if the prices are high, definitely, if they are low, you'll have a problem. If they are high, still you have a problem. Either there's a lot of, commodities not being bought. People were saying a liter of petrol in Uganda costs $1.15. So you are harassing Uhuru Kenyatta about the liter of petrol in Kenya. Even Uganda is feeling the pinch. So the situation is not as people explain here. But because UDA has two factions, one faction is sponsored by the Yellow Ribbon. And maybe for me, my role is to tell the security and the other agencies to pick it up. I'm not a security operative in Kenya. But I want to tell the security that there are two organizations in UDA. One is to overthrow the government through regime change. The other one is propaganda. They know they will not win. But the other one is an enticing regime change with Yellow Ribbon, which I have captured in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe this year, in January, we captured $6 million, where Chamisa and the NGOs had brought in $6 million of George Soros. If people are thinking that Matanga makes it up, go and read it up. Go and read it up. You'll tell me, hallelujah, $6 million of money that was captured, that was caught among the NGOs. The chairman of the NGO board of Kenya, of Zimbabwe, is in custody. And this money is coming through the axis. They are linked up. One of the places where they have opened this link is just one of the neighboring countries. I won't name it because it is a friendly country to me, where now everybody goes there to relax and pick money and cross over some area and come back. So we must be very careful. Mudavadi's aim in UDA is to incitement to say the popular. His figures don't add up. You see, this is the same man who talked something ill about COVID. I think now they have told us COVID is coming back again in May. Mudavadi will tell us, no, don't borrow money. Die quickly in May. These are the people that Kenyans, you yourselves, if you want to select them, select them. But if I were a Kenyan going to vote here, I wouldn't vote for Mudavadi, because Mudavadi is a duplicate of George Soros. Back to you, Miriam.
All right. And Daniel, just to bring you in the same story, DAP Kenya Secretary General Eseli Simiyu said that Musalia is just a paper tiger. In fact, his defection to Ruto's camp further worsened his fortunes across Western Kenya. But also, nominated Senator Petronila Were and Aleph Mudavadi said the earthquake tremors triggered a lot of confusion among their rivals in Western Kenya. Musalia is firmly in Kenya Kwanza, and according to our own polls, his rating in Western Kenya has gone up because he has been decisive and given his people direction. So we know, but Mudavadi is not, very good when it comes to making quick decisions. But according to Petronila, since he decided to join Kenya Kwanza, this must have attracted some more voters from Western Kenya, because now he seems to be a decisive leader. But of course, the Secretary General there, as I said, is terming him a paper tiger. What do you make of that?
Thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, being a person who comes from western part of the region, just like Dr. Masanga David, we understand that for the longest time, the western Kenya region was actually under, before the pre-colonial period, was under the Buanga Kingdom. And being under Buanga Kingdom, when the colonialists came, it was actually divided into north and the southern Kavirondo. And they actually used to work together through the Kavirondo Welfare Association. And these are people who have known to work together since back in the day. And also they were known as the North and the South Nyanza. That is why when you go to that particular region, even the Catholic Church, even the Anglican Church, will always talk about the North or South Nyanza, in terms of demarcations and classification of their parishes and all that. So these are regions that has been united for quite a long time. Back in history, in 2002, Musalia Mudavadi lost his parliamentary seat to a little-known man, Reverend by that time called Moses Akaranga. Why did he lose that particular seat? It is because by that time, the western part of the country was voting with Nyanza in the National Rainbow Coalition, NAC. And by that time, the presidential candidate was Mwai Kibaki. So Musalia went against the community. He lost that particular election. In 2013, when he ran for president, the western nation, the western part of the country rather, was with Raila Odinga in CORD. And how did it go? Raila actually beat Musalia in the in 4 out of the 5 western counties. And therefore, Miriam, those ones who thought that Musalia will bring some kind of political capital to William Ruto ought to have sat down and did such statistical data and historical data on how Western Kenya has been voting all along. And now, owing to the fact that even President Uhuru Kenyatta is in handshake with the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, actually the fortunes of Musalia and William Ruto will match in a bigger percentage, dwindle down. In 2017, I was so much involved in the presidential campaign, and especially for President Uhuru Kenyatta in the county of Busia. And you could go out there to campaign for the president, but people will tell you, the president is good. We do not have anything negative about the president, but we have the problem with the deputy president. He keeps insulting us, he keeps insulting our leaders, and he keeps telling us that for us to be able to receive development, then we have to send our leaders, we have to send a delegation to Sugoi to go and beseech him to work with them so that they bring back development. This is something that did not sink down well with the majority of leaders and the residents of the Western Kenya counties. You might think that everything is okay, but when you go to the grassroots and you hear about the whispers of whatever arrogance and bravado that William Ruto treated the people of Western with in 2013 and 2017 during the pre-handshake period, you will actually wonder the kind of loss and the kind of resistance or maybe political discontent that is thereabout from the people of Western Kenya. So I believe a majority of them will actually contemplate going with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And there's also a new kid on the block. You realize that the moment ANC and Ford Kenya moved to work with William Ruto, there was a new kid on the block called the Democratic Action Party, the DAP, which is much better party. It's a new party, a party which is bringing together the entire Western Kenya. Leaders across all the 5 counties have agreed to work with this particular party under Wafula Mnyinyi, David Eseli Simiyu, and of course the CS Eugene Wamalwa. And therefore it takes a break from the retrogressive party politics of Ford Kenya, where party nominations were dished out to loyalists and deserving candidates were locked out. The same thing has been happening with ANC. In fact, ANC had been reduced to a Vihiga party, and Ford Kenya was a Bungoma party. So therefore, the DAP coming on board, it actually broadens the spectrum of the party across all the Western Kenya counties. And right now, as we are speaking, Miriam, we do have even aspirants as far as from Garissa, Lamu, and Mandera coming to join the DAP party. So that actually makes Moses Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi redundant in western part of the country. So people from Western Kenya actually have an option because they don't want to go to William Ruto's camp. They don't want to work with ANC. They don't want to work with Fort Kenya. So whatever is left in Western Kenya, they look at the options available. And the first option is DAP. And those ones who feel that they cannot work with DAP, then they have ODM, which has been having and enjoying support in the region. And therefore, that is why, despite Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula joining William Ruto, there is a steady decrease in the support that William Ruto is enjoying in the region. And I expect it to plummet even much further when maybe the president comes to the region and urges my Luya people or the Western Kenya to work hand in hand with the Nyanza neighbors in making sure that we give this country a proper leadership. And also, I'm yet to see even the DAP itself stepping up campaigns in Western Kenya to rally people behind it. As soon as that begins, Miriam, William Ruto should be prepared to get below 2% of Western Kenya votes. But as it is, in Western Kenya, his deal is sealed, and Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, I believe at one point he will think they are frauds because they promised him people, but right now they seem to be alone in the UDA side of the coalition. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you so much. So before we move on again to our main topic, and that is about to do with Somalia, there is a story on page 8 on the Daily Nation. Let me just take us through quickly. We talk about it shortly, and then we can just cross over. And then later on, we shall be crossing over in real time to Sagana State Lodge, where the Sagana 3 meeting is underway as we speak. So we'll link up with that event a bit later on the show. All right. So on page 8 on the Daily Nation, the next surge of coronavirus cases in the country is likely to happen in mid-May, a researcher has said. This is based on a mathematical model, which, according to Professor Shem Sam Otoy, shows that the pattern of the pandemic in the country follows the flu season. Influenza occurs in distinct outbreaks of varying extents every year in Kenya. The country, with tropical temperatures, records flu outbreaks throughout, but with exacerbations at certain times of the year based on an elaborate national epidemiological surveillance network for influenza. It has been established that cases of flu tend to be highest during a broad wave that mostly corresponds with the southern hemisphere winter, with peaks during wet months, March to April, October, November, and the cold month of July. And so according to this research, we are told to expect a COVID wave in May, and that is according to this a scientist over here. So what will that mean for us? Because at this point, I think countries are loosening up some of these restrictions, and it has been established now that COVID-19 is endemic. It's not going anywhere with that. So what are perhaps some of the things that we need to take caution to ensure that even as this is the case, that we're still able to contain at least the numbers as far as we are concerned?
I think Miriam, about COVID-19, we have to be very careful and be sincere to ourselves. Let's not lower the guard. Let's not make changes without the ministry telling us what to do, when to do it. I'm happy that they have warned the people now that by May there will be a lot of cough. People who have got 1, 2, 3, 4 injections. This is going to be an endemic, but then it could become very dangerous. So for that matter, it is very, very important for people to keep the SOPs. You know, you have got to keep the standards. Wash your hands. You know, carry equipment of this nature. Here we are. I've carried mine and I'm showing it to the public. This is my spray. I have it in this new studio, and that is what I'm doing. And I'm not shy. That even if someone sees you carrying a bottle of water and your mask, I carry this all the time. Even if I'm going to enter the office of somebody, this has to be in my hands. So let's keep the cleanness so that this thing does not find us in chaos. Another thing is that we have not vaccinated many people. Not many people are vaccinated at all. Africa still has a problem. The drugs are not enough, but people have tried. At last medium, people woke up and said, no, let's go. Some people had a lot of, I am sure in DRC, Congo, anywhere, some place in Uganda, in Kenya, there are people who still have not vaccinated. It came with a lot, it needs a lot of, it's like a voting, really, elections in the African country. Any election, voters don't want to register in election. You have to bring in incentives, you have to call them at once, one time in a hotel and maybe give food. But with this one, it's your own life. Go out, and thank you very much, the Ministry of Health of Kenya, for giving us this advice.
And yeah, this is an expert. I don't know if he works with the Ministry of Health, but he's a scientist, and there's a lot of predictions he's made before have come to pass. But also, as much as there are a lot of Kenyans, especially the ones coming from Nairobi here, who have not been vaccinated, I think it's out of choice. Right now, when you walk around the CBD in town, the Ministry of Health, in conjunction with the Nairobi County government, Nairobi City government, have put, vaccination centers in bus stops at very convenient places where you don't have an excuse. If you want your first dose, your second dose, your booster, they're all available. So for the folks who live in the cities, I don't know how it is in, say, Mombasa or Kisumu, but I know in Nairobi right now, if you have not been vaccinated, that is a choice you've made because the vaccine is there. And there are several places that have been put across the city so that it's easier for you to access on your way to work, or your way from work, or whichever time you choose to go vaccinated. So I think Kenyan government has done all it can, but it can't force you to go have the vaccine. That is a decision that you have to make by yourself. And so that is a case. But I know in the villages it could be a different scenario because some of these health centers are a bit of a distance where it's not very accessible to majority of the population. I don't know, Douglas, not Douglas, but Daniel.
Before Daniel comes in, Mombasa is one of the best places. I've been in Mombasa and Miriam, I've observed most of the hotels are up to, they have kept the protocols. There's someone who you'll see, you can't go to the buffet and just receive food and without a mask. The chef will not give you the food. But you'll see somebody running behind, stopping you, say, mask, go and pick your mask. That is the behavior that we want. And that is the behavior that we have been looking for amongst us as people. Yes, Daniel.
Yes, thank you so much, Miriam. Of course, I've been seeing all those, all that effort that the city of Nairobi through the NMS in conjunction with the Ministry of Health has been doing to step up the vaccination across the city. I've seen even in churches, just getting the booth in major churches so that people who are coming to congregate can get a jab before they go to worship. Remember, these are an exercise that takes less than 2 minutes to be able to get inoculated. So I think it's a good motive, it's a good exercise. But on the side of Kenyans, we should just call on our people to get out there and get vaccinated. Recently, I saw a parent who sued a school and reported it to the authorities for vaccinating his daughter, And I think this is the height of ignorance when everyone across the world is actually getting vaccinated so that we can be able to lower the spread of the virus. You have people who are still thinking perhaps this is some kind of conspiracy theory and people are getting inoculated maybe for ulterior motives. It is really, really ridiculous, Miriam, for someone who is in Kenya to think that the world could spend so many billions of dollars just to get you in whatever locality you are, so that maybe they do something sinister for you. So we need to change that particular narrative. We need to perhaps sensitize people and get people to get vaccinated. I just read an article yesterday in Uganda where the Ugandan government and the president says that it's going soon to be a crime for you to walk around and being not vaccinated, because you endanger even the lives of the people who are around you because of your ignorance. And therefore, this is a fight that should be fought and won by everyone. Anyone who is patriotic to any particular country should actually be ready to get vaccinated and adhere to the health protocols that have been given to ensure that the spread of the virus does not go up. Today, like in Kenya, we have a positivity rate of below 5%, simply because people adhere to the call by the government to go for inoculation. If we will not be having people, more than 10 million people vaccinated, perhaps the numbers will not be down. But because a few responsible citizens actually offer themselves to be vaccinated, because a few responsible citizens who run restaurants, who run businesses, ensure that you will not step in those premises without wearing a mask, without sanitizing, without following the health protocols, today we have the numbers going down. But if you were irresponsible, then we would have seen a scenario like what happened in Argentina, like what happened in Brazil, like what happened in other countries across Africa, happening here in Kenya. So I think it's just a matter of being patriotic to your country, a matter of being careful and considerate of the people even around you, and just offering yourself for vaccination. I believe once as a country we are able to roll out even 40 million doses, COVID will be a thing of the past. And I was able to hear one of the health experts in testing and all the on dealing with this disease in terms of research, talking about if we can vaccinate even 80% of our population, then we will have left COVID behind our backs. We shall be looking forward now to recover and reconstruct our economy in the post-COVID pandemic era. So I think this is a good thing, Miriam, all in all. And it's something that should be supported. The Ministry of Health has been doing quite well. It has been resilient under the CS Mutahi Kagwe. The President has been very, very supportive. The government of Kenya has been also cooperative and outgoing in terms of getting out there and buying vaccines, waiting for donations, vaccine donations, and all that. So I believe, Miriam, if we continue that way, then we have the prospects of having this pandemic set behind our past and being able to recover our economy and be able to go back to the normalcy of life. If you can only do that, Miriam, I submit.
All right, Daniel, thank you so much. So now let's just turn to our main topic for the diplomatic leaks, and that is who is behind Somalia's failed oil deal. Somalian President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed has opposed a deal with the US-based coastline exploration. Both the Somalian president and the country's prime minister have rejected the oil deal inked by one of the ministers. Somalia's leadership made a swift reversal on an oil exploration deal signed with a US company on February 19th. The Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, Abdirashid Mohamed Ahmed, announced that production sharing agreements had been signed with US-based firm Coastline Exploration Limited. Ahmed said in a statement that the deal was a huge moment for the people of Somalia, as recently completed seismic programs indicate that Somalia has the potential to become a significant oil and gas producing country. According to the statement, the deal would accelerate Somalia's roadmap on hydrocarbon exploration offshore. But with the ink barely dry, both Somalia's president and prime minister announced the deal was off. In a statement, the office of President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed said the deal was nullified. The presidential palace Villa Somalia tweeted that it contravenes presidential decree that was made on the 7th August last year, which bans the inking of deals during elections as to protect public resources from exploitation during elections. So that is just a brief opening on our topic this moment. So perhaps, Doc, you would want to just start off this conversation for us.
Thank you very much, Miriam, on this topic of diplomatic leaks. Who is behind the failed Somalia's oil deal. For more than 6 years now, I have been at the forefront telling people that there is something wrong with the oil deal in Somalia. Brokers sat in London, gathered themselves, organized themselves, used their insurance companies, purchased the oil, invisible oil, medium. You can't believe it. Invisible. You don't know it. They didn't even know how much oil was there. Money was given to certain people. Some of them are already out of government. I've been following this story for a long time until it came out that the group that had sold the initial blocks of oil made it very difficult for anybody in Africa to negotiate, to talk to them. So when they grabbed the power in Somalia, they made sure that they execute their plans. Now those plans have fallen to pieces. The Somali government, the Somalis themselves are saying, who are Soma Oil? Soma Oil and the gas company. Who owns this Soma Oil and the gas company? Who are the directors? Who are the beneficiaries? Who is the first person to make sure that Kenya is taken to the ICJ so that we create a crisis that has been in other places of Africa? In Nigeria, you remember the Biafran war. It's because of oil. You remember the one that in Mozambique is oil. Someone wanted to cause a war around the region. And that person, I was not wrong. It turns out to be an American company. I think you have noticed. I was very right that at the end of the day, it will come up to an American company. And the two forces met on the ground. The Norwegian company, the British company, opposed what the Americans were doing in the Indian Ocean. So the clash between the two is what we see right now. It has made Prime Minister Hassan Harrier, even left. He's one of the main architects of the sale of oil, to Soma Oil. He was a director of Soma Oil. He pushed the ICJ. He pushed the Kenyan case. Today is out of power. Now, is it the catch word that we have, the phrase, they have been caught in catch 22? Whose oil is it? You sold empty fields without knowing the consequences of tomorrow. You are warned, sorry, you are warned that this could cause a problem, but people did not listen. Now, this is the time for people to evaluate, to find out what we can do to help the Somali people to realize that there is something they can get from their oil. Without that, we might have a big war. And I've been very eloquent. And I've been asking the United Nations Security Council. We asked when Kenya was in the United Nations. We were very candid. When Kenya was in the ICJ, we were candid. We said, why doesn't the UN Security Council come up and use Chapter 7 to avoid a war in the Indian Ocean? Somehow, Miriam, this war will come. I see it. Because today, you can't remove Kenya from where they are. If you say you have now got a boundary, you can't remove Kenya from the Indian Ocean. And now yourselves inside the house in Mogadishu, you are fighting. You want to know who sold this, who did not sell this. It will bring them a problem. While the American company is smiling in the bank. It is on Wall Street. It is making money out of oil, which is hot air. Did you know that? That is my submission.
All right. And also, Daniel, before you give your opinion on this, of course, in that statement from the Office of the Presidency, it's okay, sorry for that. And the Prime Minister have a strained relationship, as we've seen play out in the past. In this instance, both leaders appear to have been on the same page. Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Roble called the agreement illegal and unacceptable. And of course, he tweeted that. And just part of this tweet, I read that I will take all appropriate measures to protect our national resources. So last year, I think during one of the shows, Diaspora Dispatches, I think we talked about that decree that President Farmajo had made that has to do with any new deals that has to do with the oil exploration in that country. He said that will cease until the country is able to go for an election, which is now has been rescheduled several times, and now the new schedule is on 25th of February. So we'll just sit and wait and see if this election will take place. Most likely, 25th, just
25th. 2 days
is
just
one
2
day
days.
away. One day
It's 2
away.
days from here, or 1 day.
Only up tomorrow, so
Can I add before Songa comes in?
yeah.
There is no election in. There is no election in Somalia. Forget it. It won't be there. You know why? Farmajo knows if he holds election free and fair today, he can't win. But he's an agent of some forces across the world. Turkey, for example, is one of the agents that has destabilized Africa. I was discussing it elsewhere on Twitter, in my space. The huge number of Turkish ambassadors, embassies who came in, called in and said, that guy, that doctor, where is he? You could see they don't want us to tell them the truth about what Turkey is doing in Africa. And for me, any state that is dismembering Africa, like a Turkey, I don't want it to be here. I don't want it to be here. Ambassador, you know, the ambassadors of African countries, some of them, are they in bed with these guys? Turkey has come and gone to dismember Libya, divided Libya into 2 parts. It has got its army, all the fleet, the ships brought into Mediterranean Sea. We have a problem that's struggling with Libya, which has become a beggar state on African issues. Now here in Mogadishu, we cannot even make it work. Miriam, our troops are in Mogadishu. Ugandan troops are there. My brothers are in it. So any Somali who says I should not talk about Somalia must be very mentally derailed, because Kenyan brothers are in Somalia. We must find an exit strategy for them. Either one of the things that we should do about Somalia, you know what? The UN makes mistakes. It comes in too late, that's very little. Did you know that? It should have just taken over Somalia like today. And then Somalia becomes a mandate state, a trust state under the UN status, until they rebuild the capacity to be able to defend their own territory. At the moment, Somalia cannot defend its territory. If Kenyan and Ugandan and Ethiopian and other troops, Burundian, leave that country, they live with these terrorists who come to kill them, and they are happy to be killed. They sleep next door. They are happy to enjoy the bombs. Why don't you report this terrorist before he goes to kill? There is something very wrong there. Okay. Also, the countries that are in Somalia, Miriam, they better start talking about exit strategy. Are we going to keep on day night, day in, day fight, then another government? Since 1991, how many governments have changed in Kenya? 3. We are in the 3rd government in Kenya. But in Somalia has no government. No stability. Of course, our country, Uganda, for us, we have our long-serving president, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, YK Museveni, who has actually committed troops. There are things that I say the truth. I might disagree with His Excellency, the President, on a number of democratic deficits, a deficit of democracy. But on the question of security, I agree with him. When you tell him go to Congo, he goes. And you see how he has hammered there. Yes, you tell him again there is a problem here, he comes. In fact, if Kenya wanted to solve this problem of West Pokot and Turkana, tell Museveni to come. Tell those battle-hardened boys of my UPDF, our UPDF, we brought in boys from northern Uganda, from the Lord Resistance Army, who integrated in the army. I did, Miriam. I brought in very many during the agreement, who integrated, agreed to go to school and learn, and they are integrated. They are good fighters. They will fight. West Pokot will be in very good shape. I believe that's what we should do at the moment. But for me, I have no more. Right. Somalia, count me out. It will not stabilize. Time has come for us to look for the mind, the heart, and the stomach. If we don't give them a strategy of a conflict resolution expert, like I am saying, as Wesonga comes in to chip in his words, I will come back to the subject to give us solutions. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that. Now, Songa, like I was saying, the decree, we talked about the decree that President Farmajo made last year on the stopping of any new negotiation of any kind that has to do with oil in Somalia. He made that decree and it was public and we talked about it. How then can one of his ministers, knowing full and well this decree is still in effect, go ahead and sign another deal with another country, on behalf of Somalia, and the president said, no, we cannot be doing that. Where do you think this minister got the audacity from?
Thank you so much, Miriam. And Dr. Masala has plainly put it out there that President Farmajo Mohammed is a stooge of the Western powers, and more so Turkey and Norway. And for me, I believe the Prime Minister, Hussein Roble, is a good man, a statesman, who in his quest to preserve the state of Somalia, the federal state of Somalia, finds himself embroiled in a battle, an ingenuine battle with the president, who is a terrorist, a man who has been working with Al-Shabaab in sharing intelligence, a man oil blocks illegally, which belongs to our Kenyan territory. So this is a president who has been sabotaging his prime minister. They say that Hussein Roble is in charge of conducting elections in Somalia, that his office has the mandate. But nonetheless, there's a lot of sabotage. There's a day he even woke up in the morning and in his disillusionment, I don't know if he drinks in Villa Somalia, but he told the nation that he had suspended the prime minister. That is something that is very, very divisive, and it shows lack of goodwill in the side of President Mohamed Farmajo and his cronies to ensure that Somalia is able to conduct free, fair, credible, and verifiable elections, to ensure that we have a peaceful transition of power. And just the other day, we had a parliamentary election in Somalia where an ally of President Farmajo won, only for that election to be nullified. That tells you that these are creepy individuals, these are fraudulent guys who are there to profiteer from the state of Somalia, and they're not very keen to ensuring that Somalia gains peace and stability. So even for us who are our men in boots in that particular country, we should now start looking at ways of how our men in uniform are going to make their way back, because if the leadership in Somalia has to continue in that path where they disregard any effort which is made towards achieving peace and stability, then it means we're going to spend even a century trying to pacify Somalia. These are individuals who have been fighting in their own country since 1991. they have never found peace and maybe consensus for forming a national government that will ensure that all Somali people who are in diaspora, people who ran away from the ravages of war, are able to come back and do business and build their country. Only save for few states like the Jubaland, Puntland, and Somaliland, where they have actually decided to move away from the conmanship and the kind of fraud that is happening under Farmajo. If you go to Hargeisa, it's a very, very peaceful city. People are doing business. There's no reports of terror attacks and all that. But you really get a very stark contrast when you go to Mogadishu and Kismayo, where Farmajo is the president, and actually his government is responsible for the security of the people and the property of that particular region. So to me, I believe this is a man who has come to commit atrocities. This is a man who has come to reap big from the resources of Somalia, do business with the foreign powers, get a cut out of those deals, and when his time is done, because he has a dual citizenship, he'll be able to fly out of Somalia and leave the country more dilapidated and more plundered and battered than he found it. So therefore, the faster the people of Somalia realize it, the faster the people of Somalia start supporting progressive leaders and statesmen like Hussein Robol and Madobe, the better for their future, because these are the only remaining few men who understand that Somalia needs to focus on ideas and prospects that will actually be able to alleviate its people from poverty, prospects that will be able to garner peace for majority and enable the country to prosper on the basis of unity and shared goals and purpose. And therefore, Miriam, for Somalia to succeed in rebuilding and reconstructing itself, then we need to smoke President Mohamed Farmajo out of the Villa Somalia and out of Somalia itself, so that we can have people who can come on board and work in a very agreeable way with the like-minded individuals like Hussein Robol, Madobe, and many more other patriotic Somali people who are even abroad, who always wish well for their country, but because of a dictator and a stooge Farmajo is, they cannot be allowed to set foot back into Somalia. But we really have very successful Somali business people who are willing to come back and reconstruct their country. So Somalia is not in shortage of leaders. However, this single selfish and bullish man has held the rest of Somalia at stranglehold, and he does not allow it to move towards change, and he has in fact derailed the progress made by the previous regimes. So therefore, Miriam, I don't think we're going to have elections soon in Somalia, like Dr. Masanga said, not until we are able to get rid of President Mohamed Farmajo and put him in the most available plane to wherever country that he will be going to, be it the US where he is a citizen, or be it Norway or Turkey, so that people of Somalia can have space to breathe and be able to think and plan about their future. I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. And we will be crossing over to Sagana very shortly, where the meeting is happening, led by President Uhuru Kenyatta. But Doctor, just still on this story, can you imagine President Uhuru Kenyatta, even the kind of moratorium he made the other day in regards to the scrap metals? Now, when you go to those places where they used to have a lot of these scrap metals, those places are closed because the president said, made certain things, and he made it with a certain level of seriousness, and Kenyans took it very seriously. So President Farmajo made this decree, but one of his ministers goes against this. Is that even possible, or what is it that we're not being told about this Somalia oil?
The Somalia oil is controlled by Americans. You can go to Venus, Mars, Sun. If you can go to Jupiter, you come back to the same thing. The company itself has come out now. There's a company behind this. Farmajo has no powers. No powers. Each person in Somalia has powers. That's why you see there is no government for so long, that if you slip off power and remove yourself, you will not come back. So the man is holding on to power. Nobody listens to him, and I don't think there's going to be any solution to it. The oil was sold a long time ago. Hot air. They sold the hot air. Where is the oil? Can they drill one oil with Kenya there now? This could be money that was being even used for terrorism. I think some international bodies should find out. I'm so scared about a whole deal that was done by former Prime Minister Hassan Hari. More so his type of links and operations against Kenya, taking Kenya to the ICJ when he lived here and ate the food and grew up here. I'm not very happy, man. And I believe one day the Americans are behind it. They will confuse them and they will fight over it again. I submit. I'm told that we have a signal that has arrived from Sagana where His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is talking, or there is a conference there. First of all, I want to say thank you very much. And I want you to say thanks for us. You pray for us in this new studio of ours that we have, and several others that we might have across the world. We want more people to come in and have. Now we are here, and Miriam is here. People were asking, where is Miriam? Now is here. She is here, I am here. We shall be there. We want to see the program as they are. Thank you very much. Let's cross over to Sagana, where President Uhuru Kenyatta has just arrived for this much-awaited conference. Hopefully, Miriam, hopefully. What do you think will happen in Sagana? Is the president going to tell us, first of all, before you go, is the president going to tell us what made him and the DP disagree?
I don't think he will come out fully, because President Kenyatta has been saying, and I think he's been saying it repeatedly, that where they parted ways was DP was engaging in early campaigns, but he was telling him, hey, relax. There's some things we promised to Kenyans that we need to deliver. So could you just use this time to work for Kenyans who privileged us with these positions as the president and the deputy? Then once we are coming towards the end of our term, then now we can start with the politics. So that was the main, place where they parted ways. And the DP, of course, did not listen. So President Kenyatta has been saying that, among other things. I don't think he will come out with gun blazing. President Kenyatta is a very measured person. He thinks about what he's saying and what he says, because he understands his position as the head of state. That is also a symbol of unity for this country. So he normally weighs whatever it is that he's saying very carefully. So he may not come out guns blazing, but of course, perhaps from today now, we will know that he will throw maybe his weight fully to the presidential aspiration, president's aspiration for opposition leader Raila Odinga, but he might not be.
Miriam, you are also cagey. You are becoming cagey. We have already seen fireworks. Livondo has put out something that is very toxic. And
the other side has been very quiet and does not respond. Even Sudi has been very quiet.
They can't, but they can't answer this.
And Murkomen has been on those allegations.
I have been told that when they saw, after the collapse of this Livondo issue, they brought Lamada. Lamada is a cooked story, which we wait for Mr. Itumbi to give us more details. He said he promised us a video. Maybe it is still cooking. But we wanted the president today to clear his air. Mr. What is this that made you used to wear the same shirts, the same buttons, cuffling, tie? Mjamaa alikuiba nini? Wallet. Anaweza kuwa. I know Wesoga is laughing now because there is a wallet which could be missing. Has the president lost the wallet? Which is a national wallet? Yes. I think when the president realized too much corruption,
too much holes in the national
when people, by the time he came out to say 2 billion shillings go every day, the president was finished, was fed up. He had been told by several people that the man that you are with is a thief, is a corrupt man. He takes a percentage. He takes nails. You know, the worst thing in Medium is to steal nails from the China corporation. The lorries come at 3 a.m. Even people, the neighbors were saying, hey, is there another railway going to be built near here? But the railways were delivering nails, cocoto, cement, bars. It's serious information. So, I don't know, President Uhuru Kenyatta receives a lot of intelligence. But there is also one problem that makes that not very comfortable. So, let's cross over across to and listen to His Excellency the President. Is he the one speaking now? Let's listen to him. I hope he will give us the news. We are waiting for the news. Thank you very much. Otherwise, we're Songa. You can now listen. We are here.
Nĩndamucokeria ngatho andũ arĩa othe moimĩte kũrĩa moimĩte tondũ nĩnjũĩ haha gatagatĩ gaitũ twĩna arĩa moimĩte Lamu, twĩna arĩa moimĩte Mombatha, twĩna arĩa moimĩte Naroko, twĩna arĩa moimĩte Naikuru, twĩna arĩa moimĩte Eldoreti, twĩna arĩa moimĩte Meru, tũrĩ arĩa moimĩte Tharaka Nithi, tũrĩ arĩa moimĩte Laikipia, tũrĩ arĩa moimĩte Nairobi, tũrĩ arĩa moimĩte Kiambu, tũrĩ arĩa moimĩte Murang'a, tũrĩ arĩa moimĩte Kirinyaga, tũrĩ arĩa moimĩte Nyeri, tũrĩ na arĩa moimĩte Nyandarua, na tũkĩte haha na wendo wa gũkorwo ithuothe rĩ ta rũrĩrĩ tũrĩ endi thayũ na tũrĩ endi bũrũri kana inĩ atĩa hetima na niĩ gĩkeno gĩakwa nĩ atĩ nĩ twarĩkanĩire tũkĩte haha kahinda kangĩ tũtiakĩrĩ aingĩ ũrĩa tũkĩhana ũmũthĩ ndiũ nĩkĩ andũ metereire ndĩmere no tũtiakĩrĩ ũrĩa aingĩ ũrĩa tũhana no nĩ twĩrĩga gũcemania o to ũguo tũikarĩte nĩguo o gũcira maũndũ maitũ na tũgĩciraga maũndũ maitũ tũtiugaga atĩ tũrĩ nja ya bũrũri tũracira ma bũrũri ithĩtima tondũ gũtirĩ mũndũ handũ harĩa tũime nĩguo no twĩtĩagĩra atĩrĩrĩ o harĩa nyumĩte bũrũri wakwa nĩke kana inĩ atĩa ithĩtiguo na nĩ twacirire ũrĩa twacirire na nĩ ngũcokera ti rĩu nĩ baadaye no rĩu nĩ twagĩtana rĩngĩ nĩgetha twĩyũrie na twaranĩrie hamwe kũrĩa tũrorete kũrĩa tumĩte ũrĩa twĩkĩte na ũrĩa tũngĩenda gwĩkwo ithĩtiguo na rekei ndĩmwĩre nĩ nyingĩ ciana rio niĩ ngĩkira kanua ngerorera ngaigua ona kũrĩ mothiũ ndĩrona haha.
Naam, ni mkutano wa Sagana 3 hapo Rais Uhuru Kenyatta akiwa anazungumza na wajumbe kutoka